Have you ever felt so broken that even hope seemed like a cruel joke? If you've ever been through a storm and thought you couldn't survive, then stay with me till the end of this story, because today you're about to witness how a shattered life found healing in the most unexpected way. And before we begin, if this story touches your heart even a little, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Amelia Grant was only 19 when her world turned upside down. One evening, after a car accident, she woke up in a hospital bed unable to feel her legs. The diagnosis was crushing: permanent paralysis from the waist down. For anyone, that would have been devastating. But for Amelia, it was unbearable. She wasn't just any girl. She was the daughter of Richard Grant, one of the country's most powerful CEOs. From the outside, she lived a dream life: luxury, wealth, and every opportunity at her fingertips. But none of it mattered now. She felt imprisoned in her own body. Days turned into weeks, and her spirit broke. She refused therapy. She stopped talking to her friends. She stared at the ceiling for hours, whispering only one painful truth: "I'm useless now." Her father, despite all his power, couldn't fix her. Richard had built empires, but in front of his daughter's pain, he was helpless. He brought in the best doctors, therapists, and specialists. But Amelia's heart was locked behind walls of despair. Miles Carter was nothing like Richard Grant. He wasn't rich, wasn't powerful, and definitely wasn't perfect. He was a mechanic, a widower, and the single father of a little girl named Lily. Life had tested him brutally. His wife had passed away when Lily was only 3, leaving him to raise her alone. He worked long hours, struggling to pay bills, but he never gave up. To Lily, he was her hero. To others, he was just another man trying to survive. One day, by pure coincidence, their paths crossed. Miles had been repairing cars outside the rehabilitation center where Amelia was reluctantly enrolled. Lily, full of innocent curiosity, spotted Amelia sitting silently by the window in her wheelchair. While most people avoided Amelia, afraid of saying the wrong thing, Lily waved at her with the purest smile. Something about that simple wave made Amelia blink back tears. She hadn't smiled in months, but a tiny flicker of warmth stirred inside her. Later, Miles found himself in the waiting lounge near Amelia. He saw her father pacing with worry, while Amelia sat lifeless, headphones on, eyes vacant. Miles didn't know who she was, didn't care about her family's wealth. He just saw a girl drowning. When Lily tugged his sleeve and whispered, "Daddy," she looked so sad. Miles did something bold. He walked over, crouched beside Amelia, and whispered words that would change her life. "I know you feel like you're broken forever, but I promise you, I will help you. Not because I have money, not because I have power, but because sometimes the right people walk into our lives when we need them most." For the first time in months, Amelia's eyes filled with tears that weren't from pain, but from hope. Miles wasn't a therapist. He wasn't a doctor, but he had something rare: unshakable patience and genuine kindness. He began visiting Amelia often, sometimes bringing Lily, sometimes just himself. He never pressured her to walk or to change overnight. Instead, he reminded her that she was still Amelia, not just the paralyzed daughter of a CEO. He told her stories of his late wife, of nights he thought he couldn't go on, yet found a reason in Lily's smile. He reminded her that life's value isn't measured by what we can't do, but by the love we can still give and receive. And slowly, Amelia started opening up. She began her therapy, not for her father, not for the doctors, but because she wanted to try again. And every milestone, no matter how small, was celebrated by Miles and Lily. There were setbacks. Days when Amelia fell into tears, screaming, "What's the point?" But Miles never walked away. He would sit quietly, sometimes holding her hand, sometimes just letting silence do the healing. Months passed. Amelia wasn't cured. Her paralysis didn't magically disappear. But her spirit transformed. She rediscovered laughter. She began painting again, something she had abandoned after the accident. She even started tutoring Lily, who adored her like an older sister. Richard watched all of this in stunned silence. He had spent millions trying to heal his daughter, yet it was a humble single father and his child who gave Amelia her life back. One evening, Richard invited Miles to his office. He offered him money, a job, even a position in the company. Miles shook his head. Mr. Grant, I didn't do this for a reward. Sometimes, the best help we can give isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in time, in love, and in standing beside someone when everyone else has walked away. Richard, a man who had always believed success was about power, wealth, and control, broke down that night. He realized something money could never buy: the courage to simply care. Years later, Amelia would look back on that chapter of her life, not as the end of her story, but the beginning. She became an advocate for young people with disabilities, sharing her journey to inspire others. Miles and Amelia remained close friends, more like family. And little Lily, she grew up saying she wanted to be like Amelia, strong, kind, and unafraid to live life differently. So, what does this story teach us? That hope often arrives in the quietest whispers. That sometimes, the people who change our lives aren't the richest or the most powerful, but the ones who simply refuse to give up on us. And if you've made it this far, remember this. No matter how broken life makes you feel, your story isn't over yet. The right people, the right moments, and the right reasons to fight again. They will find you. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Together, let's keep spreading stories of hope, courage, and love. Because sometimes a whisper is all it takes.